Hi folks, I'm back. It's me, Mahbub Chowdhury, aka the People's Coach, aka your host and speaker for today. Now today I have more things to talk about in terms of settling disputes in a relationship. Yes, that's right, people. I'm here to share some more tips and experiences and insights and perspectives in terms of doing just that. You know what, at the end of the day, you will always have challenges, conflicts at certain phases and stages of your relationship. Now, what it boils down to is how do you settle disputes? I'm sure each and every one of us out there has heard this quote, this saying that space is a good thing for the relationship. Well, I'm here to tell you otherwise. I'm here to tell you that space can be good for you and also it can be bad for you. Let me give you an example. Before I begin, I must see who is at the door. Lo and behold, it's my little boy, my son. Son, come in. Say hello, everybody. No, say hello.
Hello.
Everybody. Say, I love my dad. And daddy loves you. Now, let me clarify, what do I mean by good space and bad space? Now, sometimes, what tends to happen is, when we get into a dispute, an argument, a little confrontation, conflict, we either shout, scream or swear, yell at each other, and then we go off, have a bit of space, and then come back. Now this is where the fine line is. Pay close attention, because the fine line is this. You could, after you've come back from your space, say nothing and just pretend as if it didn't happen, brush things underneath the carpet. But I'll tell you what, when you do this, what tends to happen is you have built up resentment through time, and all of a sudden, through a little heated bust-up, the bust-ups tend to get more and more bigger, and then after they get more and more bigger, both of you tend to just shut down and not trust each other, not speak to each other, and the relationship deteriorates. Now, on the other hand, where if you use space to your advantage, what you can do is this. This is the thing that I adopt and employ in my own relationship when I'm going through conflicting and challenging times with my dearest loved one, my wife, is if we're not able to discuss it at that time, then what we do is we go off. That doesn't matter if it's going off to the other room or we're just doing something to distract us, to keep our mind away from things. But we have a bit of space, and in that space, what we do is we do something good that helps us to settle our emotions, our heated emotions. And we also use that time to reflect, to think, and to come back and look for different ways in terms of communicating more effectively, to talk to one another and understand one another better. We try to rectify where we went wrong and try to look at the perspective from one another. What was we trying to say? What did we mean by when we said this? Show more empathy, more mercy. So what tends to happen is, through this space, the time that we've utilized in terms of reflecting, trying to do whatever it is to take our mind away from the situation and make ourselves feel good. Because at the end of the day, it's about managing emotions. And then we come back and we communicate and we talk about the situation. That is the difference between the two. One, example A is that you go away, have your space, but don't talk afterwards. And the other one is you utilize space, that you have time to reflect, to ponder, to make yourself do whatever it is to help you settle your emotions, make you feel a lot more better, and then you come back and communicate. That's the difference between the two. That's the difference of how space works. You can either use space to your advantage or use space to your disadvantage. Now, when you use it to your advantage, you know what happens? The love increases through every single challenge that you face and go through with your spouse. If you adopt space well, your love will increase so much, because through this approach, you're showing each other that you care for one another to do this. You care for each other's feelings. You want to seek to understand one another, so you will have a more meaningful and better relationship. That's how love increases. Now the other one shows that, you know what, I'm a coward. I don't want to talk about it because I fear rejection. I fear taking accountability because I may be wrong. Or I am wrong, but I don't want to admit it because I'm stubborn. I don't want to blame you because it's your fault. That's what the other example does when you start using space and not talk about it. Because the funny thing is, a lot of people are afraid to talk about things. And when I mean by talking about things, I mean, yes, you may have differences and heated bust-ups, but it doesn't mean to say that you stop trying. Don't stop trying to communicate and looking for better ways of dealing with the situation. When you have a heated bust-up, it doesn't have to end it. It just means that you've misunderstood each other. You need to look for a different way of connecting with one another, communicating with one another, settling disputes. You're adults now. So start acting like adults. Not acting, sorry. Be an adult. Be responsible. Be accountable. Don't be a coward. Don't be afraid of admitting that you're wrong. Don't be afraid of rejection. Because let me tell you something, the funny thing about rejection. Rejection is only lasts for a short period of time. There's only so much that person would reject you until they start breaking down. The only time that they're going to start breaking down is through your continual efforts in order to make things better. And through rejection, the more you keep on trying, it shows that you care about that person. You love that person. You want things to work out. The less you try, it shows that you don't care. It shows an egotistical side of you that you are right and they are wrong. And by having this approach, it spoils and it breaks the relationship down. You see the difference between the two. Utilizing your space well. Space is all about what you do in the time you have. Is it productive or is it disruptive? Those are just a few things to think about. I thought I might bring to your attention from personal experiences. People. That's all I have to say. Until then, have a great day. Until then, take care, stay strong, stay focused. And always live to learn to empower and inspire the lives of many, as well as yourself. Bye for now.